Hi, this is Dr. Chad Upchurch, and today we're going to be talking about our Take Back Your Life protocol. And it is a protocol that works. I'm excited to be able to share this information with you today. And to get things started, I want to share with you a story about one of our patients that came to see us at our office. And I want you to start to see how the people that come here are typical people, and these are the types of stories that we see every day and the type of results that we get every day. This man's name is Mike, and he came to see us several months back, and he came to see us like a lot of people came to see us. He had some concerns about low back pain and neck pain and different types of things that he wasn't enjoying, wasn't able to live the life that he wanted to because of the pain. And at the same time, he had also been diagnosed with diabetes, which, if you know anything about diabetes, it typically gets worse every year. And so he just really came to me and said, look, I want to feel better, I want to be healthier, and most importantly, I want to be done with diabetes. I don't want to go down that road. And when we started with him, he probably weighed about 300 pounds. I know he was in about a size 56 pant size, and so when we sat down to talk, I'm sure he expected a lot of what he had had at other offices, which is, use ice on your lower back, take some over-the-counter anti-inflammatories, or maybe take some prescription stuff to help with the pain, and watch what you eat for diabetes, but make sure you take your medication or your insulin or whatever. And we just kind of went in a different direction with Mike. We started talking about some real diet changes that we could make, and we started talking about chiropractic care, and we really just went for Mike. We were trying to find a way to help Mike get healthy, and guess what? He did. As we speak today, his body fat percentage is in the normal range. He's down from a 56 pant size down to a 40 pant size. He's lost about 80 pounds, and most importantly, within about 30 days, all of his blood work started coming back normal as far as his blood sugar. And then within about 90 days after starting the program, he was completely off all medications for diabetes, and now is not diagnosed with diabetes. Along with that, he also feels amazingly better. I mean, anybody out there, think about it. If you get 80 pounds off your body, don't you think that's going to change the way your back feels, or your neck feels, or your knees feel? And it has. He's moving better. He feels better. In fact, at this point, I'm going to say that Mike is actually a very healthy person. Now, why am I opening with that? Because I want you to understand that the majority of the people that come to see me have that very similar story. And through the protocols that we use, and it's a little different for everybody, we can actually help people attain health. Not just treat symptoms, not just patch things up, but actually achieve health. And so today, I'm going to show you how you can take back your life. In the next 45 minutes or so, you're going to learn things like the power of a definition. In fact, that's the first thing you're going to learn. You're going to learn things like what day-to-day decisions are killing you. You're going to learn how to avoid or eliminate most pains and medications. And lastly, you're going to discover how you can take what you've learned here today to the next level so you can make a lasting change in your own life. So let's jump into the definition that we were talking about. That definition is something that once you get it right, once you understand it, will completely change the direction of your health. If your health is moving in the right direction, we have to start with this simple definition. And the definition is health. What is health? If you want to be healthy, you have to understand what health is. So I want you to think to yourselves for a minute, how would you define health? How do you know whether you're healthy or not? What does health mean to you? And in most cases, and when I've asked this question many times at many workshops and talks that I've done, and almost across the board, when people are defining this for me, they say, well, health is when you feel good. Health is when you're able to get up and do the things you want to do. Health is not having to be on medication. And what I want you to understand is that those definitions, as long as we hold on to those definitions, it actually will create the opposite of health, which is sickness and disease and pain. The real definition of health is something completely different. The real definition of health uses a word that I talk about a lot, which is function. The real definition of health, if you look it up, it'll talk about the physical, mental, your body's physically and mentally functioning at 100%. So that word gets used a lot. My simple definition of health is that health is when you function at 100%. Now, why is this important? This is extremely important because if you define your health by how you feel, hey, health is when you feel good, then as long as you feel good, you don't have to work on your health. And I want you guys to think about your own scenarios here. If you've been defining yourself that way, isn't it true that you've kind of gone through life and thought, I probably should eat better, or I probably should exercise, or I probably should go see the chiropractor, or I probably should get a massage, or whatever it is that's in your life, but you think, yeah, I don't really feel bad. I must be okay. I don't have to change that yet. I feel fine. How are your kids doing? Are they healthy or are they not healthy? Well, they feel fine, so they must be healthy. Well, this is a really dangerous way to look at things because how many of you guys have ever known somebody that you see them, you're talking to them, you go out to dinner together, they look healthy, they would tell you they feel great, but a couple of weeks later you get a call that they were diagnosed with cancer. Or a couple of weeks later you find out that they were diagnosed with diabetes. Or a couple of weeks later you find out they had a stroke. Well, what in the world happened? I just saw them 2 weeks ago and they looked fine. They felt fine. We had a nice steak together or whatever. Well, those are all silent killers, meaning that those people that you were having dinner with and talking to, they were not healthy. They were not functioning well. They had cancer, diabetes, or whatever long before the symptom ever showed up, long before it was ever detected. And so if we live our life thinking, well, hey, I feel fine, you're just a ticking time bomb waiting for one of those diagnoses to show up. Because I promise you, if you don't know for sure whether you're functioning well or not, you probably are not. So, learning this definition is the first big step in taking your life back and living a healthy, vibrant life. Let me flip it to the other side. What about when you feel bad? Anybody ever had the flu? Boy, that doesn't feel good. When you have the flu, are you healthy or are you sick? Well, the gut response usually is to say, well, I've got the flu, I'm sick because I feel bad, which is back to that same definition. Oh, if I feel bad, I must be sick. Well, that's also not true. See, when you get the flu, that's a virus that invades your body. And your body doesn't want that. It's bad for you. It's dangerous for you. And so your body kicks in to destroy that virus. And it uses its amazing immune system to do that. And so what it does is it raises your body temperature, what we call a fever, which is a natural normal response to the flu. Also, to get rid of that flu, you'll get things like you'll either vomit or you'll have diarrhea or you'll get the body aches and all of these things that happen even though we don't like them and they're not fun and they feel bad. All these things that are happening are what a normal, healthy, highly functioning body would go through when you get the flu. And guess what? If you let it run its course, in about 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, you'll be over the flu and you'll be back actually being healthy again. So the whole time your body was functioning well, and we could continue to say that I'm healthy. I'm healthy and I'm having a symptom challenge. As opposed to, oh, I feel great, I must be healthy. Oh, I feel bad, now I must be sick. It has very little to do with your symptoms at all. So, what I want you to think about is in your own lives, how has this definition affected you or your family's life? How does that definition affect the decisions that you make? Are you going through life assuming that, hey, as long as I feel good, I must be fine and I don't need to change anything? Are you doing the same thing with your children? Hey, they feel fine. They can have Coke every day. They can have ice cream every day. They're fine. They feel fine. If you see that and you see the way that could be impacting your life, you've got to start changing the way you look about it. Let me ask you this. How are you functioning? How are your kids functioning? If you don't know, you need to find out. And that's one of the things that we offer in our office. Now, I know this is a little bit of a gross picture, but this goes along with a story that I want to tell. Back in the early 1970s, there was a environmental catastrophe happening in the Great Lakes. And what was happening is that due to pollution and other toxins being dumped into the Great Lakes, the fish were dying in droves. Now, instead of talking about the Great Lakes, let's bring it home a little bit. Let's say that you live by a lake, and let's say you've lived there for a long time, most of your life, and you've fished and boated and all this kind of stuff. But let's say over the last 10 years, you've been noticing something similar to this picture starting to happen. More fish starting to wash up until it gets to the point that you're just seeing hundreds of fish washing up on the shore. If that was happening by a lake that you live by, or maybe your own personal life, or own personal lake, what would you think was happening? Well, more than likely, you'd probably start coming to the same conclusions that they did in the Great Lakes, and you'd think, well, look, there's something affecting the environment and where these fish live. It's not like their genetics just changed over the last 5 years. Something is different about their genetics. There's something in their water, or there's something in the oxygen that they're breathing, or there's something in the food, or there's something going on in their environment, or another word for it is their lifestyle. Those fish are in a diseased lifestyle or a diseased environment. And so now we have to figure out, okay, we're seeing all these fish die. We're pretty sure it's coming from their environment or their lifestyle. What do we do about it? How do we solve this problem? Well, let me be a little cynical here. Do you think it would be effective to take that lake and build little miniature fish hospitals all around the lake, and then when we see fish that are swimming a little sluggish or they wash up on the land and are not quite dead, we grab those fish and we put them in the little fish hospital and we give them, several rounds of antibiotics and maybe a steroid and whatever else, some sort of super medication that we've come up with, and we patch them back up and we put them back in the water, and they continue to live. So we saved a life. They continue to live because of these medications, and we just keep patching them. We just keep patching them. Would that work? Do you think that would work, or do you think that we would continue to see real problems with these fish? Well, yeah, of course. Nobody would do that. They didn't do that at the Great Lakes. They didn't set up little hospitals and start medicating the fish. What they did is they said, you know what? This is a diseased environment. This is a diseased lifestyle that these fish are in, and we have to clean that up. And so that's what they started doing. They started stopping companies from polluting the water, and they started cleaning the water up. And by the time from the early 1970s, by the time they get to the early 1980s, they had pretty much got the fish population back under control and had solved that problem, because they did one important thing. They changed the disease lifestyle. They changed the disease and the toxic environment of those fish. Now, that seems pretty simple. I think most people agree with that. That makes sense. But what about when it comes to the human being race? What about us when we're looking at ourselves? We tend to lose that common sense when we're thinking about our own selves. So think for a minute that you've got the human environment in a fish tank or in a lake or whatever. What are the basic needs that let's don't get complicated. It's very simple. Humans need good, healthy food. Now, when we're talking about good, healthy food, what are we talking about? Well, that's certainly not a bag of chips, and it's certainly not running through fast food. It is fresh vegetables, fresh organic fruit, lean proteins that are grass-fed and not pumped full of antibiotics, seeds, nuts, plenty of fresh water. I think everybody would agree that every human being on the face of the earth needs those basic necessities from food. Human beings also need exercise. They need movement, daily physical activity. They don't necessarily have to go to the gym, but they need physical activity every single day. They need clean air to breathe. They need a good night's sleep. Right? You can come up with basics that all human beings need. It crosses all races and religions. Every human being needs this. So let me ask you this. How are we doing as a human race? If we look at the globe, if we look at the human race, or bring it down, just look at the United States, or just look at your state. When we look at the people around us, and we look at it from an outside observer, how are we doing? Are we healthy? Remember, health is about how we function, not how we feel. Look around at people. Do we look healthy? Do we act healthy? Well, I think the resounding answer is no. In fact, we're in a health crisis in the United States. Obesity rates are over 30% and increasing to 40% across the country. We're using more medication than any other country in the world. We're definitely very unhealthy people, and I think everybody can see that. So if we know what the basic needs of the human body are, and we see that the human race is doing really bad health-wise, well, what should we conclude? Well, I think it's pretty easy to see the same as the fish. We are obviously living in a toxic environment. We have a toxic lifestyle. So when somebody comes into my office and they're having all these symptoms just like the fish, I don't feel good, I'm hurting, I'm sluggish, I'm over medicated, I'm dying faster than I should, I'm diabetic, I have heart disease, I've got degeneration, I've got fibromyalgia, whatever. Should we set up little hospitals and start giving antibiotics and steroids and miracle drugs? Well, there's some benefit to that, but is that really going to solve the problem? Is that really going to get to the issue? Well, of course not. You're going to continue to have to take those medications, and you can continue to have to try to save your life and continue to be resuscitated. Because the real problem is the toxic lifestyle. And that's what's not being addressed. So what is our toxic lifestyle? What is the worst things that we're doing as human beings? Well, we talked about food. I think everybody knows we're not eating the foods that we should be eating. We're not eating the organic vegetables and fruits and lean proteins and nuts and seeds. Not even close. We're eating what's in the picture there. We're eating the French fries and the cheeseburgers and the cheese sticks and the fettuccine Alfredo and donuts and Snicker bars and ice cream and candy and all the stuff that we're eating, and soft drinks and fast food. I mean, just go on and on and on and on and on. And each generation's getting worse. This generation of kids is eating the worst food ever, and we're seeing it. If you take away the healthy things that humans need and replace it with very unhealthy, toxic things, they're going to deteriorate health-wise. They're going to lose their function of their body. What about physically? See the picture on the right? Doesn't that look like kids today? Isn't that the way they sit? Isn't that what they do? How many kids do you see out riding bikes in the road and playing with sticks in the yard and playing tag and running? Now, sure, it happens. They do it. But isn't it also true that this generation of children spends far more time doing this type of stuff than anything else, and far more time than my generation or any generation before us, because we didn't even have this type of technology? Let me ask you something. The boy sitting there looking down, do you think if somebody sits in that posture for long enough that their spine would start to change in that direction? Absolutely. I see it every day. It's the most common problem I see in children, is that they've completely lost their posture. The physical fitness part of their body is deteriorating. Their muscles are decreasing, and their posture is horrible. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you how that affects their nervous system. And then, of course, the more of the toxicities are the medications that we're taking. We start very young with the medications. First cold, we start with antibiotics, lots of vaccines, allergy medications, and all of it is used to try to quick fix the overwhelming toxic environment that we're growing up in. That's what kids are growing up in. That's what adults today are living in, is a toxic environment, and it's killing us. And all of these toxic things, the foods, the lack of exercise, the emotional stress, the watching TV, go on and on, it's all putting stress on your body. And a great way to see that is to look at the nervous system itself, which is the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves, because the nervous system is how our body relates to our environment. And if there was a test we could use to see how that nervous system is functioning and see what kind of stress it's under, we could really make some decisions. And I'm going to tell you, we've got that test, and I'll show you that in a minute. Let me show you a little timeline. I use this with a lot of my patients, and what I talk about is that everybody's on this continuum. Of course, on the left side is disease and death and, feeling bad. That's a bad place to be. And of course, on the right is health and vitality and feeling great. And along that pathway, people are moving. And let's just assume that we're born healthy. And I know that's not always the case. In fact, this lifestyle is making that even more difficult. But let's just assume that we're born healthy. If we're born healthy, as we enter into this toxic environment, this toxic lifestyle that is not providing us the necessary things that we need to be healthy, then people start to move along this continuum. They start over here where they're healthy and they start to move to the left all the way down this continuum. And as they're moving down this continuum, as long as they're on the right side of this blue line, they really don't have any symptoms. But remember, the definition of health is functioning at 100%. So if our function of our body is moving in this direction, and let's say we're somewhere right in here, even though we feel fine, are we healthy? No, absolutely not. We're not functioning at 100%. And as we continue to move down this road, we get less healthy and less function, until eventually we cross the blue line. And when we cross the blue line, that's when the symptoms start to show up. And that's when people start to say, boy, I'm so stiff these days. I can't move as well as I should. And then it moves a little bit further to where, boy, I've started having these headaches and my stomach hurts. And now we move over here and we're having trouble digesting food and we're getting irritable bowel syndrome. And then we move over here and our blood pressure starts to go up too high and we start to get diagnosed with high cholesterol and we start to have to get more medications, and then we get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and it just on and on until we get over in this area, and now we get diagnosed with cancer or diabetes, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So unfortunately, people don't usually come to see me or other doctors until they're over here. They're on the symptom side, whether it's just aches and pains and stiffness, or whether it's full out diabetes and fibromyalgia and whatever massive problems we have. This is usually when people decide to do something with it. And why is that? Because they've had a bad definition of health. They've thought, hey, as long as I feel good, as long as I'm over here on this right side, I must be healthy. And guess what? It's just like a flip of a coin. Boom, now we're over here and we feel bad and now we want to do something about it. So let me ask you, if we leave you here, if this is where you are and we leave you here, but we just try to start to treat those symptoms with medications, what's going to happen? Well, at the least, you're going to stay right here. You're not going to move anywhere. And at the worst, because of those medications and that toxic lifestyle, you're going to actually keep moving in this direction. Because remember, all those medications have side effects. So they're not actually improving your health. They're just treating your symptoms. But what if we did this? What if instead of leaving you here and just giving you medications and quick fixes, what if we actually set a goal out to start to move you in this direction? What if we started to look at all these negatives in your lifestyle and we started to change the way you eat and change the way you stand and change the way you exercise and change the way you think and change the medications that you're on? Couldn't you actually move up this continuum? And couldn't you cross over this symptom line? And then once you crossed over the symptom line, couldn't you actually achieve real health? Yeah, you could. In fact, that's what we do every day. In fact, that's exactly what we did with Mike when I started the story. That is our protocol, is to take you where you are and figure out how to move you towards health. Move your body towards function. For not trying to move towards 100%, because what if you could get to 80%? That'd be worth it. I promise you, it'd be worth it. So the next question is going to be, how well are you functioning? Now, this is a great question, because at this point you should be looking at that continuum and looking at what we're talking about and thinking, well, I wonder how well I do function. Because maybe you're a person that's listening to this and saying, well, I feel fine. But yeah, that's a good point. I wonder how well I'm functioning. Or maybe you're a person on the other end that doesn't feel good, or you've already been diagnosed with something, or you're already on medications. I would really be wanting to know, well, how well am I functioning? Is that the problem? Is that why I'm having the problems that I am? Well, that's what we do in this office, is try to figure out how well you're functioning. And how do we do that? Well, we do it a lot by talking. We're going to ask you questions about your nutrition. What are you eating? How often are you eating? What are your vices? What are the things that are giving you trouble? We're going to talk about your medications that you're taking, what you're on them for. We'll have you work with your medical doctor on reducing those as we get you healthier. We'll talk to you about exercise or lack of exercise and what would be appropriate and what you can do and what would benefit you. We'll talk about your posture, which relates to your exercise. We'll do a scan of your body and we'll find out your body fat percentage and your lean muscle tissue percentage. We'll find out what your hydration level is. We'll take x-rays, which will give us an idea about the structure of your body. And is it in alignment? Is it straight? Is it degenerating? Do you have bad posture? We'll be able to tell all that from x-rays. And the most important test we'll do is a thermography and a surface EMG of your nervous system itself. Remember, I talked to you earlier saying that the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves controls every function of your body. So if your body's going to function at its best, then that thermography and surface EMG is really going to tell us how you're functioning, and it's going to tell us what kind of stress levels we have on that body and that nervous system. This is what the thermography and the surface EMG look like. And I gave you a couple of pictures here. If you look at the two pictures at the top, the first picture here is a before picture, before somebody started with our protocol. And this picture is a person after they started with the protocol. Now, the white bars that you see are the normal nerves. Those are nerves that are working like they should. The green bars you see are nerves that have just mild nerve interference. So whites and greens we can kind of live with. Blues, don't like them. Blues are medium pressure, and this also goes for these bottom pictures as well, the color codes. The blue is medium or moderate pressure, and red is severe pressure. So the top picture on the left, the before picture, when we look at that area of the spine and nervous system is not functioning well. For whatever reason, it may be a misalignment in the spine, it may be chemical, emotional, physical stresses on the nervous system, it could be toxicities, but for some reason that nervous system in that particular area is not working good. Now, once we know which nerves aren't working good, those nerves control things. And in that particular area of the spine, T10, T11, T12, and L1, those nerves are going to go to the muscles of the middle back and a little bit of the upper legs. And they're going to go to, or the lower back, and upper legs. They're also going to go to things like the kidneys and a little bit of the small intestines. So if that part of the nervous system is not working right, then we know that we're going to start to show symptoms in those areas. So it could be kidney infections or colon problems or muscle spasms. Those are the symptoms that are going to happen. But after we take somebody through the protocol, you can see the picture on the right. Now we have somebody that has a clear, healthy nervous system. The picture on the left is someone that is not functioning well. The picture on the right is someone that is functioning well. Same thing at the bottom. You can see this picture, lots of reds down there. Reds mean red, and blacks even worse than reds. Reds and blues and blacks, that's a person that's not functioning well. After working on them, putting them through the protocol, after much better functioning. That person is a much healthier person. And guess what the side effects of becoming a healthier functioning person are? You feel better. So this is a test that everybody should have done. Whether you feel good or not, if your question is how am I functioning, this is an important place to start. Now, we also talked about we would take x-rays. The reason we take x-rays is that, again, if we're dealing with the nervous system, if we're trying to improve the nervous system as part of this protocol, the spine protects that nervous system. The spine, the vertebrae themselves are the armor that protects that nervous system. The spinal cord runs through those bones, the nerves exit. The picture on the left is a man that came to see us, and of course he came to see us because he was having a lot of neck pain and headaches and a lot of nerve interference. And the picture on the left is a very abnormal picture of the cervical spine. And after working on him and taking him through this protocol, now this takes a longer time, this took several months, we were able to change his spine to the picture on the right, which is still not ideal, but it is a much healthier spine. And we were able to change that over time. Well, guess what that also did? That also took pressure off his nervous system. That also made his neck pain go away, his headaches went away, and his overall health and the function of his body improved. So that's some of the results that we can do there with this protocol. So what exactly is the protocol? And I've hinted at this a little bit. Well, we use things like our Ideal Protein nutrition program, and that's a whole nother topic, and there's a lot to that, so we do workshops on that. We have some information that you can find, but basically that's where we take people and we change their really bad eating habits into really good eating habits, and that's the way we're able to reduce or eliminate things like high blood pressure and high cholesterol and diabetes and even aches and pains and fibromyalgia, and all of that's related to too much sugar and too much carbohydrates, and so we change that, and we change in a really effective way. We use things like massage and chiropractic care to work with the muscles and the spine and the posture of the body to make sure that it's balanced and functioning the way it should. We use exercise. We use stretching and rehab, re-education of the muscles. We work with people on posture, giving them exercises to do for for that. We talk to them about cardio and weight training. Then of course, we also talk to people about supplements. Now, I don't give a lot of supplements out because a lot of them don't have a lot of proof that they work, but there are 3 that I recommend to people, and we go through those and we talk about the benefits and how they can be anti-inflammatory and boost your immune system and just give you the things that you're not necessarily getting in your diet. Sometimes we use orthotics, which you put in people's shoes to help their feet be more balanced, which is the foundation of your body. Your feet being unbalanced can throw your knees off and your hips off and your neck off. And then, of course, we do re-exams and re-x-rays to monitor your progress, to make sure that you're coming along. At the re-exams, we redo that thermograph and surface EMG to see how the nervous system's coming along. Re-x-rays, we actually check the structure of the body to see how it's coming along. And it works really good. Now, not everybody gets all of those things. Those are all just tools that we use. So, if I'm sitting in your shoes right now, if I've listened to this, even though I haven't gone into a lot of detail, here's what I'd be thinking to myself. I want to know how I'm functioning. I feel really good. I feel fine. I want to know I'm functioning. Not only that, I want to know how my wife or my husband's functioning. I want to know how my kids are functioning. Because now I understand that, wow, being healthy is about functioning at my best. And if I can function better, then I want to know that. At the same time, if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking I'm on all these medications and I'm diabetic and my neck hurts and I don't get off the couch and I'm in big trouble, I'd also want to know how I was functioning. And I'd want to know if these tests that we can do, I'd want to know if they could show me why I've gotten myself in this shape. Can we figure out why my body's not functioning the way it is? And so here's what we're going to do for everybody listening. If you call our office and you say, "Hey, I listened to your Take Back My Life protocol workshop that you did on YouTube," and that's with the magic word. If you say YouTube, if you tell us you saw this on YouTube, and that'll be the magic word. If you call up, they'll say, "How'd you hear about it?" You say, "Hey, I watched the video on online, and the key word is YouTube." If you say that, then what we're going to do is we're going to let you have this assessment, this Take Back My Life assessment, and we're going to really discount it. Normally, we charge $250 to do all of this assessment, and that's your body fat, your posture, nutrition, going over your medications, x-rays, thermograph, surface EMG. It'll be one of the most comprehensive exams you've had. Normally, we charge $250 for that, which is still a pretty good deal. What we're going to do for anybody that calls up, we're going to do that for $99. Okay? You call up, you say, "I saw it online, saw the video. Magic word is YouTube." That way we know you watched it, and then you'll get that complete assessment for $99. Now, a lot of you are going to have insurance coverage. If you've got insurance coverage, it may only cost you a $10 copay or a $20 copay, or you may only pay 1%. No problem. If you prefer to go that route, we'll do that. But I want you to know that you can get this complete assessment done for $99. That also includes you coming back and going over the results. I'll go over the results with you personally. I'll show you what's good, what's bad, how you're functioning, and I'll also give you the recommendations on how to improve the function of your body. At that point, we'll then go over any costs that would be involved in that treatment or that protocol. And you can make a decision at that point whether it's something that you want to act on or not. If you decide not to act on it, no problem. At least you have the information. We have people come to see us, we go over all this with us, and they wait 6 months or they wait a year until they decide to do it. But we have many people that decide to start right now, and then 6 months down the road, they are healthy and back functioning. So take advantage of that. Call the office. Now, the phone number for the office is 615-441-6115. It's 441-6115. You can also reach us through our website, which is mylifesource.net. We're also on Facebook, so you can look up LifeSource on Facebook. Several ways that you can reach out to us, all the same. Tell Cassie or whoever answers the phone that you saw us online, saw the video, and give us the word YouTube for the discount. But let me finish some of my stories with you. To open up, we talked about Mike and his results. I want to talk to you about Faye now for a minute. This is Faye, and she's just a sweetheart of a lady, and she had let her health start to get out of control, and we were noticing as time went on, she was having more neck pain and more back pain. She had also gotten on several medications that she didn't want to be on, and we had talked about it several times, but the timing just wasn't right for her to make some lifestyle changes. But eventually it was, and we put her on this protocol, and we used Ideal Protein a lot for her with this. We used chiropractic care with her with this, and in 5 months, Faye lost 75 pounds. She's been taken off of her fluid pill, which was for high blood pressure, her cholesterol medication, and her acid reflux medication. Now tell me that's not impressive. In 5 months, that's what we were able to accomplish, because what did we do? Instead of treating symptoms, we went in and we started changing the toxic lifestyle, just like you do with the fish that are dying. We changed the toxic lifestyle, and she has literally regained her health and her life back. I just saw her yesterday. She feels great. She's moving great. Her body's in so much less pain, if any. Just a tremendous success story. Now, a lot of people are surprised that we also work with kids. In fact, we see a lot of kids in our office. And this is just a sweetheart of a little girl that we take care of. Her nickname is Pickles. Her name is Aislinn. And when she came to see us, bless her heart, she was on a lot of medication because she had severe allergies, real bad breakouts of eczema and rashes, and she had a snotty nose all the time, and basically her mom just said she's sick all the time, she's on medications all the time, and we want to do something. And once we started taking her through the protocol, and it wasn't instant, it took some time, we had to make some nutritional changes. Her mom was fantastic with that. We started decreasing her medication, we started working on her nervous system itself. And you can read it right here. Since the beginning of her treatment, Aislinn has not had to take any medication for allergies or digestive issues. Also, she has only had 2 eczema breakouts instead of 1 to 2 a week. And she goes on to say, everything Dr. Chad said would happen has. Her body has learned to fight on its own, and she said Dr. Chad makes her feel much better. She has literally become a healthy child. She's not having breakouts. She's not having eczema. She's not having these runny noses and snotty noses, and she's not on medication. She also did the protocol. We don't have to do everything with every person, but changing that nervous system, changing the diet, cleaning up the environment, your body works with that. It loves it and it works. Guys, thanks so much for listening to this. I hope it wasn't too long. I have tons more that I can talk about, but I hope this gives you a good idea. Call the office. Call the office. Come get the assessment. Find out what's going on with you. You too can get better. I know that you can get better. Can you be perfect? I don't know. Maybe not. But you can be better. And there's no reason to continue down the road that you're still going down. So I hope you call. Remember, 615-441-6115. Call the office. Get an appointment scheduled. Come see us. I can't wait to meet you. If I can't help you, I will tell you that also. Have a great day.